Good evening, everyone, and everyone listening. This is Connie Lingus here with,
Yo, what up? It's me.
also known as
Me.
the cultural appropriator Peter, here for another edition of 89.1 WNYU's very own category is Dragcast Extravaganza, where we will be wrapping up our thoughts on season 11 of RuPaul's Drag Race. Afterwards, we will do another drag event spotlight of the great Raja with her solo show Masque.
Not Raja from season 11. Let's make that very clear.
No, the season 3 winner, spoilers, solo show. I have some thoughts on
this
that.
is the good Raja.
The good Raja who put together quite the show that we'll get into. But before we get to that, let's just finish this season so I never have to think about it again.
Well, I think that start gets us right to the point of what you're thinking here.
All right, so before we get into all the stuff that I didn't like about the season, that we didn't like about the season, let's just go through some of our favorite and some of the best moments of the season.
Right, because there were a lot of good moments.
I had a harder time putting my best list than I did my worst list.
Well, we always focus on the bad things when we're looking at something in retrospect. But
Season
let's be
6
clear,
is perfect.
let's be clear, there are bad moments to every season of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Not season 6 or
Yes,
season 5
yes,
or season 4.
4, 5, and 6 have their share of bad things.
Not like season 11, though. But let's start with the good. The challenge where they had the two different churches, the Britney group, that was overall a good
That was
section
one of the best episodes of the season, if not the best episode of the season.
because
period.
the high was really high and the low was so low that it was also really high.
Yes, exactly. It was just such a beautiful thing to watch there. I was cracking up watching the Church of Britney Spears, and then I was cracking up watching the Church of
Mariah.
not because it was good. And then you had that glorious 6-person lip sync.
Where another great moment of Honey
Davenport
yeeting
rest
herself.
in peace, yeeting off the face of the season.
Yeah, which is a shame because I think she could have made it farther if she would not have jumped off the stage. Another great moment. This is a collection of moments. In fact, it's just an aura. That aura is Scarlett. I think Scarlett was one of the high points of this season in all contexts.
Yeah,
Scarlett was one of the best. She was one of my faves in the reunion. Her look was great in the final.
Scarlett comes out in the beginning of this season in like a slightly iffy outfit, but it's not too bad. It's like kind of that levitating corset sort of thing.
Yeah.
But she comes out and she is very clearly sassy and judgy. But then the next week, she shows that she's really good and that she has the right to be sassy and judgy. And after that, she just becomes this character for whom it's fun to watch her prance around in the workroom, acting like she's a queen. It's sort of like the Shangela sort of arrogance, where it's just a quirky character trait and it's not intentionally being mean to anybody.
Yeah, it's not like drama for the sake of drama, and she didn't really bring drama. She just brought people maybe thinking like negative things about her, but like no one was like, she wasn't bringing anyone down or calling someone smelly or garbage. This one with an asterisk. Angie accepted most of her runways and like half of the challenges she was in.
I'm going to say that asterisk is a lot bigger than a normal asterisk because the Vanjie moments that we saw when she was being the dad in Good God Girl Get Out or when she was just being Vanjie in a confessional, those were great. But I didn't really like the Vanjie we saw outside of that. When we saw Vanjie in a character, it was fantastic. But I think that there were a lot of nets to kind of balance it out, if not tip it towards the negative.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining about Vanjie. But I am saying that we could have gotten better, and I know the potential's there.
Yes, the potential's there, but in terms of what we got from Vanjie, I felt like she was one of the things I consistently, despite like her consistently not doing the best, I kept on wanting to watch to see what she would bring, to see her attitude. She brought an energy to the show that this season really needed. Akira Torque crying in that acting challenge that Vanjie and Plastique were awful.
That entire episode was pretty great.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yes, with Brooks Simpson's reference, that was pretty good.
That people criticized her for, but she was funny, so I don't mind.
Yeah, exactly. Like that whole episode, except for the Plastique and Vanjie part, that was kind of puzzling, and Suga being kind of invisible, but most especially in that section, just Akira's performance was so good in that.
Akira's performance was spectacular in that episode, so
yes.
I liked that episode.
Slap out of it, basically the Rio reading challenge that we got.
The reading challenge done right.
That was pretty much the most fun we got from reading the entire season.
It was genuinely clever. Instead of just having Rue slap the queens, we had actual queens slapping the queens, and they had fun with it. They had a lot of fun.
They had funs, and this time they actually came out with like witty things instead of the garbage that was thrown out during the actual reading challenge.
Even the way that they slapped was kind of witty.
Yeah.
That was the best mini challenge this season.
Most of Brooks' runways impressed for me.
The vast majority of them were good. There are some that I had complaints about because they either didn't really fit the category, like the Halloween one that she won with.
Yeah.
Or they were towards the end, and I was like, I don't really feel it.
Yeah, same old. But
there were some that I didn't enjoy, but there are some, especially the one with the reveal where she whips off the cape and the wig, and she just comes out strong in that one episode with the Snatch Game.
Yeah.
That was the best runway I've ever seen.
Yeah, definitely. That was a high point. I think a lot of Plastique's looks were high points.
Plastique's looks were good, and yes, we criticized her, and rightfully so,
because
for doing the same thing over and over again until the very last one where she didn't do it right.
Yeah, but like her great looks were some of the best of the season, and then her post-elimination looks were phenomenal. Finally, in my list, I'd say a good half of Evie's runways were some of the best and most creative we've had in a long time.
I'd say a little over half.
Yes, I mean the one for me it's about half or a little more than half. The ones that I didn't like weren't in agreement with, like the dinosaur.
We'll still disagree on the dinosaur. I still think the dinosaur was genius because of the way she delivered it.
I still think
thinks the dinosaur was cheap.
Yeah.
But the fact that you can have an outfit that is that polarizing means that there's at least something to it in terms of the vision behind it.
That's true.
You can at least give it credit there. But that being said, I actually disagreed on some outfits that Connie enjoyed that I thought, this isn't really it. And that's kind of what I predicted to see from Evie. Outfits that would either really hit the mark or seriously miss it. But I genuinely enjoyed a lot of her outfits.
Yeah.
And I thought that she brought a unique style. Her final lip sync outfit was one of the best things I've seen. Her final outfit that she was judged on with the 3 everything, that was really great.
Yeah.
Evie's performance as a whole was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah. And I think we had 2 amazing top tier lip syncs that came out of this season, at least the Evie lip sync personally, I think, and the first Brooke and Evie lip sync.
Both of those lip syncs were really great.
Yeah, top tier. That's the positive. Now let's get into the worst of the season for me. I think this season focused way too much on 2 queens having drama.
And those 2 queens being named Evie and whoever's having drama with her right now.
Most of the time being Silky.
Most of the time being Silky.
Or when Raja was
Raja.
I just felt it was so drama-centric and not, that you lost sight of the personality of the queens and you lost sight of the talent of the queens. When so much of what you could remember about Raja has something to do with
Bacon.
Her group Bacon look. But, I think people will associate her for being shady the entire time rather than, there were some Raja looks that we liked. but we don't remember them because
There was one that I can think of being kind of good, but I didn't enjoy most of them. I think that if Raja didn't have the drama, she would be known for saying that she was a dancer and then not dancing very well.
that was funny.
But I don't know. I looked at the drama, and I don't mind drama, okay? Let me make that very clear.
Drama's
I
fun.
want drama.
Yeah,
If this show didn't have drama, it would be kind of boring.
I agree.
So I'm not going to complain about there being drama. I just prefer the drama being used in a certain way. And if that means producing the show to make the drama in an appealing way, I don't have a problem with that.
It's just monotonous and just so soul-sucking. It honestly makes the show kind of depressing. Drag should not be depressing. I think the history behind drag does have some depressing moments, but if it's like a celebration of drag culture, you should not associate like bitterness, negativity, hostility, and that's what we got for so much of it. And it was just so cumbersome.
I'm okay with some drama. In retrospect, I actually enjoyed the Vixen drama. She had drama with a lot of queens, and, you know, it was, like, spread out among other queens.
Yeah.
It wasn't just the spotlight on the Vixen for too long. You know what? I don't have a problem with how that drama was done, for the most part. But I don't really like how the drama happened in this season, and maybe some of the responsibility falls on the queens to start a little more drama themselves. I don't know.
I think it also leans into the other main worst. I just felt the season was so overproduced in terms of, I feel by the end of it, it was so clear that like Nina's gonna get Miss Congeniality.
Oh, well,
RuPaul loves Evie. Evie's going to win. RuPaul's gonna make Brooke and Vanjie lip sync against each other. Like, RuPaul's gonna keep Vanjie on as long as possible. Like,
some of those were not predicted. I did not predict RuPaul keeping Vanjie on as long as possible.
No, I did.
Okay, she didn't keep on Valentina as long as possible in her season when she had every reason to. I'll say this. There are some things that I saw coming that I didn't have a problem with. I don't have a problem with seeing the fact that Nina got Miss Congeniality coming. I don't have an issue with that.
Sure.
Because, you know, she deserved it. And from what we saw of her, yeah, I like that. Okay? I don't have a problem with that. But some things I do have an issue with. My issue with this season was not that it was overproduced. My issue with this season was that it was poorly produced. When you're making decisions that are clearly about production, I don't care so long as it's a good decision. And I always come back to Ben de la Creme leaving in All-Star Season 3. Let's be very clear. Ben de la Creme lost that lip sync. And the producers knew that she wrote her own name on the lipstick, so obviously they chose her. It was obviously produced, but I liked the result, so I didn't mind it. But the production decisions here were questionable.
I guess to wrap things into like the production being whack, other issues that I'll just run through. Sugar Cane's invisibility, Honey's invisibility, Nina going home when it either should have been both of them, or Silky going home.
For the record, I don't have a problem with Honey going home. I'm just going to throw that out there. I have a problem with Sugar Cane going home that 1 week instead of Vanjie. I find Nina, if we're just judging that lip sync, you can justify sending her home. I would have rather seen Silky go home, but it is what it is. But there are some decisions there that I don't mind. Like, when Honey jumped off the stage, that was when I knew she should go home then and there.
Sure, but I think even before that, we didn't get enough Honey, is what I'm saying. Like,
perhaps, but
or
they
like,
knew that she wasn't going to stick around.
Still, or like we barely got any of Kahana either.
Well, Kahana. That's true. We did not get much Kahana. You're not wrong there.
So yeah, just the invisibility of some queens.
And you're going to have queen invisibility every season, but it seemed particularly egregious this season.
Yeah.
Even Vanjie was invisible to an extent, and that was just, I don't know, why you're going to keep on saving her if you're not going to use her.
Yeah. Finally, let's see. I said my piece about it the first time, but I'll just remind you, Michelle Visage, don't tell someone what their culture is.
There was still an issue, let's be clear, there was still an issue with Plastique resorting back to what can be considered a harmful stereotype in her act.
Sure. But
and that's a big but.
you can't claim that something is or not their culture, especially as like a cis white woman.
And I didn't like seeing, for the record, the same mistakes made by the same queens week after week.
Yeah, and not
like,
learning.
And they don't even get called out enough.
Yeah.
Because like I said, Nina had so many cheap looking outfits for the first few weeks that I kept on coming down on. And then the judges said, yeah, I don't like this. And then she fixed all of them, and suddenly the vast majority were good.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that the right things were called out, or if they were, I don't think that we saw them.
Yeah.
And the queens certainly didn't act on them.
Yeah. Finally, the Mercedes one episode arc was awkward.
It was really awkward.
That was just really strange.
Because at first I was like, go you, Mercedes. You don't need to talk about your religion if you don't want to, okay? You shouldn't feel pressured to. You know, that's your own life. And then all of a sudden, no, it was all produced.
Yeah, that was embarrassing.
That was bad production.
And then finally, I just don't remember a lot of the challenges from this season off the top of my head. I had to look them up.
There were some challenges that just really weren't fun. The one with the organic dresses, it was the fact that most queens just ended up resorting to denim.
Yeah,
was bad.
Yeah,
and the fact that you had in that jig thing was garbage.
Oh yeah, that they like selectively judge.
I'm sorry,
people
Alyssa
on.
Edwards, but that was not a good jig. Okay, I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
There were some challenges that didn't really work, that weren't really enjoyable, and there were a lot of dressing challenges this season, and I really prefer the acting challenges. I get it. You need dressing challenges, but I feel like there were a lot of dressing challenges this season, and I feel like too much of that is just too much.
Or like, I just want something like, say what you want about All Stars 4. I think one of the most creative challenges they have ever done was that Design Their Own Club challenge. And just in terms of like all that it like required from the queens, it tested so much of their creativity in so many different ways. Like
you have these 3 clubs right next to each other, and they're painting them, and they have to come up with a theme, and they end up actually taking really impressive shape. And you just see Michelle Visage staring with disgust at everything in Club 96.
Yeah,
and it was just hilarious, and I loved that episode. My favorite challenge is still The Bachelor from All Stars 3.
Yes,
but those are like good challenges.
Exactly. It's that the type of creativity in those challenges that I would have loved to see more of, but instead I felt like we got like just pools of the same type of stuff. So overall, I would land this season, I'd give it an eh. It wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible.
Leaves me asking the serious question. Am I expecting RuPaul's Drag Race to be American Idol? And is that a bad thing? Should I be expecting it to be American Idol? Because once again, this is a competition.
Yeah.
This show is a competition, but if it was just a competition, I wouldn't enjoy it. I don't enjoy watching American Idol because it's just like you spend a lot of time watching about the person talking about how they're practicing, and then they practice, and then Simon Cowell's not judging anymore, so what's even the point?
Yeah.
But in American Idol, you don't have that reality show element, and that reality show element is good. I think that Drag Race typically does it better than most other shows. I feel like this season was too much reality in what was decided, and I think that is really emulated in the camera. I have no problem with the queen who didn't lip sync as well being sent home if you do it or not being sent home if you do it like once or twice. But when you're manipulating the camera that hard, I get really suspicious. And I feel like this season was too much reality and not enough competition.
Yes. And with that is our discussion on Drag Race Season 11.
With that, we close the book on the season forever, never to return.
Only to open the Drag Race book up again to talk about Raja, the Season 3 winner.
Yeah, so this is a different season. This is not Season 11 Raja. Let's stress that again.
This is Season 3 Raja without the H. Her solo show, Masque. We're talking about it now in our drag event spotlight. Dale. So, she did a show on a Tuesday. She's apparently performed this show before. She tends to perform these shows and debut them in Providence, she mentioned. Debut, whatever. This one was at Lord Beekman again. It's one of them joints. They get a lot of talent for their venue, which is nice for a fan of drag stuff. So let's talk the show. I went with a friend who had never been to like a large drag show in terms of recognizable talent. So this was their first look into real deal drag shows, and I feel so bad for suckering them into going. Oof. I like Raja. She seems like an interesting gal. She is an interesting gal. I like her YouTube channel. I like her looks.
Please subscribe.
She was fun in her season. But Raja was, and may, on a general basis, is in a bad place.
That was a long intro, but I feel like the build-up is worth it here.
Yeah. Raja, this show was called Masque, and she described it as like mask coming from that we all like wear masks, double consciousness.
You show one mask to your friends, one mask you only show to your family, and the third mask you don't show to anybody else. That meme.
Yeah. Very surface level.
How can mirrors be real if our eyes aren't real?
Sure. To that level. And okay, that's fine. On paper, that's an okay concept if you do something with it. But the problem with this show was that it wasn't a show. And at one point, she described it as like a TED Talk, which is wrong because TED Talks have structure.
And when I sign up for a TED Talk, it's because I want to learn. And when I sign up for a drag show, I'm not going there to learn.
I'm there to be entertained.
Yes.
And if I happen to learn something in the process,
then good.
Hell yeah. But the problem is that she was admittedly on stage drunk and stoned out of her mind. And it showed in that she would just ramble and ramble and ramble. And it just dragged. Pun intended. It felt overlong while also not using the hour that the show was properly. When she wasn't babbling, she talked about how she was married and then she got divorced. And I don't know, that she seemed to be in a bad place when talking about that and just the entire show. So that was like weird. Like my friend said, why are all drag shows depressing? And I was like, no, this one was just like strangely depressing because you just kind of felt bad. Like it was a fascinating mess.
And let's be clear, we don't want to mock people for having depression.
No, of course not. But
we're just saying that we don't want to be depressed as well in a drag show.
Or not even that. I don't mind being depressed if it's constructive.
Good depression?
No, not good depression, but constructive.
If it helps you achieve something, if it helps you learn.
Yeah, if it's like a means of self-reflection that also adds to your show, if it's a theme of the show.
You can have sad moments and it can help.
But if you're just kind of getting drunk on stage and just acting kind of sad and acting like very sloppy and messy, it's just really awkward. And there were some celebrity guests in the audience. Sharon Needles was there out of drag. There's a lot of times where she talked to Sharon on the audience, which was weird.
Apparently Sharon's pretty cute too.
Sharon, out of drag nowadays, is one hot tamale, in my opinion. Some other famous singer that she's friend with was there, stoned out of her mind too, and Raja brought her on stage to get her to sing her happy birthday, which again, very weird. And other than that, there was like 2 lip sync numbers, and they weren't bad. When she knew the words, I'd say she knew about 80% of them. Though there's one she lip synced to a Lady Gaga song off of her album that she did with Tony Bennett. And she would lip sync and then just like comment on the song as she was doing it. Kind of like when you're at home just jamming in your shower singing along and you're just like, oh, that's so good. Like
I don't do that, but
well, you don't listen to the bangers that I listen to.
I don't shower correctly.
But yeah, she was doing that. When she did sing, she knew all the words. Surprisingly, she herself said that if I don't know the words, I'm just gonna start singing a song from The Little Mermaid. But she made it through. She did a very great cover of famous French singer's song of What Makes a Man a Man. Pretty good rendition of it. Raja's not a bad singer. But yeah.
I'm feeling bad having us talk about this and like hearing about what it was. So I want to make this clear. Raja, we wish nothing for the best of you.
Oh,
and
yeah.
We hope that you do well.
Yeah, of course. And she mentioned that she is working on a new show currently, and that this one she is actually writing, and she admitted that this show that she did, she doesn't write. So I think if she writes it, and she has an editor, because she doesn't write apparently, and she just has the structure that comes from writing and sticks to it, it might be pretty good. But I can't recommend Masque to anybody, because even if you just want to see Raja in cool outfits, she had like...
Search up Raja in cool outfits.
Yeah,
Google
she had
images.
like 2.5 outfits, and they were...
2.5?
Yeah, like 2 distinct outfits, and then she came out and added like a jacket to the second outfit. So it's not a costume change, honey. That's 2.5. So yeah, overall, I wasn't like bored. I was just kind of sad, and I was glad I was drinking. That's all I could say. And on that happy note is our episode. Super special. Oh, no, I can't even. No, not even yet. Thank you so much for listening. This is Connie Lingus here with
Cultural appropriator for talking in slang,
also known as Dat Boy Peter. Super special thank you to Miss Darling for their song that is used.
Young Lovers.
Yes, that song. Where is it used, Peter?
Intro and outro of this podcast. And if you enjoyed, make sure to check us out on Apple Podcasts. We have a lot of episodes there. Tune in next Tuesday.
Yeah, and we're on most places, bruh. Just
we're
find
everywhere.
us.
Just search us up.
Yeah.
Give us a call.
No, don't give us a call because I'm not answering. Thank you so much for listening, and have a lovely evening or day.
See ya.